Here comes Navas!
Great control by Ernie Tapai.
Still Ernie Tapai, it's a goal! It is a goal!
And Nicodem's got there and he's turned the defence, there's his foul! Super stuff!
Coverage of the NTUC Income Yo's S.LEAGUE, and what a mouth-watering performance that we have for you. The final two matches of the season, and tonight it can't get any bigger than this. Well, just by the sound of the crowd behind me, you can tell that SFFC has certainly got all their supporters behind them to hopefully see them being crowned champions for the third time running. All they need tonight is a win or 2 points over the next two games. Well, standing in their way tonight is the team of Home United, the Protectors, who are certainly no strangers at this level of competition. Title holders themselves back in 2003, they'll certainly be looking to spoil that game for the SFFC side. Well, they'll certainly be relying on the experience of Indra Shadan and also Paris de Oliveira to boost their confidence and hopefully keep them in title contention should they win tonight. It's one of those games that can go either way, and in a moment we'll find out which way it will be. Well, the atmosphere here is certainly fantastic. Certainly one of the sights that we certainly like to see every week right here at the NTUC Income Yo's S.LEAGUE. And for all the action and all the lineup and all formation, let's cross over now to our match commentator. It's over to Des Kokil and Sasi Kumar.
Thanks very much, Paul. Setting it up absolutely perfectly. It is as big as it can get in Singapore football. You've got the champions-elect looking to make it 3 in a row. And this is the lineup. They are missing a key member, and Sasi Kumar will talk us through that. But this is the starting 11. Alexander Djuric with 28 goals up front. Obviously, the fulcrum of it. But it's one of these 4-5-1 formations, Sasi, that the Singapore Armed Forces seem to put out into the big games.
Well, it really worked out for them last week when we played the Super 8s, but I'm not too sure if that will work against the Home United Protectors, because they'll come up with a game plan to stifle the likes of Wilkinson and Tersak. It will be a very interesting midfield battle between Tersak Chaiman and Paris de Oliveira, because it will be a question of who picks up who.
If things aren't going well, there's lots on the bench for the Singapore Armed Forces. Ashrin Sharif, capable of scoring. Jamal Ali has got pace, and defensive cover from Faisal Aziz and Razali Khalik. So that's the Singapore Armed Forces as we have a look at the Home United fans. And this is the starting 11 that the Home United fans have got to cheer. And a selection decision made by PN Sivaji, leaving out Sharul Ishak from this starting 11, going instead with the young Thai Komprom Jarumpong. Aggressive or foolhardy?
Well, I would say aggressive, because Sharul Ishak hasn't been himself lately after recovering from a almost career-ending illness. But it's good to see that this lineup as well, full of household names. It's also good news that Indra Shadan makes his comeback. Ludo, he's been one of the players we had definitely had to watch out for. Probably one of the picks for player of the season, Ludovic. Interesting, because the backline looks a little bit weak without the absence of skipper Subramani.
Ludovic has scored 23 goals this season, and they'll be relying on him because there's not an awful lot attacking on the bench if things don't go well. Farhan Farouk can come and play up front, but other than that, it's pretty much midfielders and defenders, although Sharul Ishak is always capable. But there's the man you were talking about, Indra Shadan Daud. Had a bit of a nasty injury, has only come back into the team in the last couple of games, but he certainly doesn't like losing, and neither do Home United.
Not at all. I think he'll be looking to add to his tally, because with the AFF Suzuki Cup just round the corner, he really wants to be up there with the rest of the team.
A nervous, pensive-looking Alexander Djuric. It's not often you see Big Alex looking that nervous, or is that just determination of a job that's got to be done?
Well, it's a combination of a few factors, I would believe. Also, if you look in the media today, he still has not got his contract sorted out. But that won't matter, because Alex is a true blue professional. He want to do a job today. Last week didn't have the best of games against the Super 8s. Well, let's see if this week he beats Lionel Lewis.
Lionel versus Alexander Djuric is going to be one of a number of really big battles that we're going to focus on. Djuric, and to the right in the grey shirt, Sharul Jantam, who is a former international himself and has earned not rave reviews but consistent reviews. That's the big change for Cheryl Jansen. This is Shijayi. There's goal-scoring potential all over the pitch for both sides.
Well, he's technically very good, Shijayi. Likes to get forward, support the midfielders. This time around, employed as a right winger or right midfielder, if you want to put it that way. He'll be looking to operate down the right flank. Plenty of option space. Well, he's got Mustaqim Momzo, who will be put in charge of making sure that he tracks him back and doesn't allow Shijayi to get on the ball.
S. Kumar is the man in charge of this championship decider. For Home United, it is simple. They must win. Otherwise, their championship challenge ends here in Jalan Besar. Early touches of the ball for Walid Lunis, the Singapore citizen now. And Valerie Heek, who I know you are a big fan of, Sassy. We'll talk more about Heek in just a little while. Kornprom, possession. Just getting a touch of the ball early on. Heek trying to exploit a little bit of space behind Shaifalisa. Chaiman loses out to Syed Fadil. And a free kick goes to Home United.
Well, we just talked about Valerie here. Gave a very, very good cross-field ball, just trying to find the feet of Shijayi. Like I said, it'll be a very interesting battle, especially in midfield. You've got two absolutely brilliant playmakers in Perez and Tersak Chaiman. Whoever gets on the ball will decide the game tonight, I think.
Osman Sulaiman was the man who caused the initial problem, but it's a straight ball through, and Dan Bennett and co. coping comfortably with the first attack by Home United. This is Joric. Shijayi picks it up. Oh, the Singapore international turns into trouble. And the foul, he just nicks the ankles of Mustaqim. And Shijayi just turned back into trouble there, Sassy.
Well, not the best of starts for Shijayi, especially with his first touch. Had options in Krumpong, but chose to turn himself.
Walid with a powerful header that took out his own man as well. Fukusawa, who's playing in that holding midfield role.
I'll tell you what, Fukusawa had a fantastic game last week against the Super 8s. Mopped up right in front of the defense, made it very hard for the Koreans. And tonight I'm sure he'll be looking to do the same job.
Walid, who's replacing S. Subramani at the heart of the defence. And the ball is through, and the flag is up very, very late. Kenya Ludovic thought he'd escaped.
Well, let's have a look at that one again, because the SAFFC backline, very static, almost allowing Kenya Ludovic to get past him.
At the other end, Lionel Lewis picks up a long ball. And into Syed Fadil, who'll be the lone defensive midfielder for Home United. Mustaqim's put pressure on Rosman Sulaiman.
Well, this is where I think I have to be a little bit critical of Rosman. Very good defender, but likes to tread on the ball a little bit, takes his chance, very slow in terms of making his mind up with the pass. And Mustaqim Mansour there quickly snapping at his heel.
Fukusawa. A reminder, victory for Singapore Armed Forces will secure them their third title in succession, with a cup final next Friday to come at this same venue. Long ball looking for Ludovic, and he's got the better of Bennett, and Ludovic puts a left-footed volley wide, and he looks sharp, does the Cameroonian.
I tell you what, I really, really admire this guy, because the way he went about doing his business with Balestier, with the low club, he scored like 15, 16 goals a season. And this is the season where he's really shining with a better team like Home United FC. Tonight, Dan Bennett and co will have a rough time.
There is Ludovic, finds Perez de Oliveira, looking for Indra, so difficult to hold off the ball. Shijayi fires a shot, right-footed, a foot or so wide of Cheryl Jansen's post.
Great passage of play. Started off with Indra Sharan, immaculate control. Let's have a look at this one. Perhaps Shijayi just in the end not really finding his range, but again Home United asking the early questions.
Oh, Shijayi's landed very, very heavily after that jump. Referee's playing on, but Shijayi is in considerable discomfort. He went up high and he just landed rock hard on this bone-hard pitch.
This is the downside of this field, because very, very hard. And have a look at this. I think he must have just jerked his shoulder a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't take him out of the game. Shivaji a little bit concerned with that fall.
Normally, Shivaji can't be angry at anyone for long, can he? Shaifulisa. Perez doing defensive work. Perez on one side, Turksak Chaiman on the other. Talk us through who will do the better defensive job.
Turksak definitely, because Perez, he likes to steal a yard or two, doesn't really do his defensive duty. But tell you what, actually works out for Home United, because he gets into those very, very dangerous areas, and when teams don't pick him up, that's where he actually hurts them.
Perez doing some defensive work there, but doing it illegally, and it's a free kick. Ahmad Latiff. And Shaifulisa, what are we here? 35, 40 yards out, and he's got a terrific delivery with his left foot. Will curl it in towards a dangerous area. Shaifulisa. Perez gets the header, but it's at the expense of a corner kick.
There's much better delivery from Shaifulisa, who had a woeful time last week. None of the set plays actually worked for them, but this time around, obviously, he's worked during the week. Perez de Oliveira climbing the highest to make sure that that stayed away from the goal. Interesting enough, he's been given the captain's armband. Usually the standing captain is either Lionel Lewis or Indra Sharan.
Joric and Kenji Arai are there. It doesn't reach them. Shijayi's near post header. Cover from Fukasawa, who made his name as a centre forward in Thailand before he came down to Singapore. Very versatile players. Ludovic wins another free kick.
He's quality, and every time Kenny Ludovic is around, the defender should never allow the ball to bounce, because he's so physical, he will just muscle you off the ball.
Fukasawa goes to ground theatrically. Fair challenge though from Kornprom, and if this is Kenny Ludovic. Kenji Arai sticking very close to him.
And rightfully so, because if you allow this guy to turn and run at you, you're in all sorts of trouble. And Kenji Arai is no slouch either. Had a fantastic season at the heart of the defense alongside Daniel Bennett.
Turksak spreads it wide. Hafiz Osman enables Ahmed Latiff. Osman now takes it on. Wilkinson available. Ahmed Latiff, he's got Joric in the middle. Turksak in support. And Ahmed Latiff wins a free kick, is it? It is indeed. Walid Lunis trots away, trying to look innocent. Taken quickly. And offside. Clever play between Latiff and Wilkinson, but just a bit too clever.
Well, this is where the Home United defenders got to be a little bit aware of Latiff. Always look for the opportunity for the free kick. Very intelligent when it comes to winning free kicks and fouls in and around the area. So they really need to stay on their feet. Not that quickly dive in.
Valerie Heek down the line, but straight out of play. Very healthy crowd in at Jalan Besar, and it's a decent atmosphere.
And rightfully so. This is probably one of the best matches, or best match of the season. Can even be a title decider. This is a real showcase for the S.LEAGUE.
Switch play to Jumat Jantan. Lovely idea from Shijayi, just half a yard or so too far, and Ahmed Latiff again, quick thinking. Kornprom's done well. And Hafiz is absolutely furious with Kornprom, saying he hasn't touched him. And Eskumar, sensibly, is just calming the Singapore international down. That's good refereeing.
Well, you can imagine the emotions running through the players at the moment. None of them really want to give an inch to the other.
Kenji Arai wins the header. Rosman Sulaiman loses out to Mustaqim. Syed Fadil does an awful lot of unheralded work just in front of the back four. Kenji finds Shaiful Issa. Turksak. Very good, but not very effective.
Well, not on the same page. When it works out, you look like a genius, but if it doesn't, people start wondering what's going on there.
Sulaiman. Bennett gets the header in. Latiff finds Wilkinson. And Ludovic is strong. Kenya Ludovic. Perez to the right. Ludovic goes for the goal. And 3 times in this opening 10 minutes, Home United have threatened the Singapore Armed Forces goal.
Well, wonderful run by Ludovic. Just outmuscles Wilkinson, then just tries to bend the ball around, trying to catch the goalkeeper out. Have a look at this. Uses his upper body strength to good use. They're looking for options. Doesn't really find. Cuts back. Favorite right foot. The shot comes in there. Keeper really off his line. Just trying to catch him off. Not finding his range this time.
Valerie Heek. He'll know he's been in a game. Alexander Djuric will work him hard. Still one of the fittest players in the league is Alexander Djuric, 38. Fukasawa into Turksak. Wilkinson. Ahmad Latiff with Hafiz Osman in support. Valerie Heek lifts it on and Shijai composed. And Heek comes striding out to defence, and he's got players left and right. He goes left and it might still break to Indra. Here is Valerie Heek again. When he crosses and Kenji Arai makes the clearance. Oh, and Ahmad Latiff is a little bit aggressive in the challenge there.
Very robust with the challenge, Ahmad Latiff. Got to be a little bit careful. Could have been easily a booking. But what a run by Valerie Heek. All the way through, and then in the end ran out of ideas. Just trying to thread it to Indra Shadan.
Perez rise at the far post. Mustaqim's header cleared by Turksak. Valerie Heek again. Ludovic is just so strong. So's Indra, and Ludovic, no flag again.
Well, I tell you what, it's a real hard job marking Kenya Ludovic, because he's not the biggest of guys, but he is very, very strong and stocky. Not easy to shrug off the ball, and that's the reason why the Warriors are really struggling to keep good check on him.
Djuric. Perez is stronger than Shaiful Issa. Komprom spreads it left to Jumat Jantan, up from fullback. 3 red shirts in the penalty area, closed down by Hafiz Osman.
That was the wrong option, if you ask me. Had the opportunity to put a left-legged cross. Well, obviously, no confidence there, just cutting back to his favourite right foot.
Richard Bock, the SAF coach, looking a little bit concerned as Kenji Arai is confident. And that's a good execution. All it needs, though, is Sherrill to be 5 yards off his line, and he's in trouble.
If you ask me, that's taking a chance, because you don't know where the keeper is. Kenji Arai really, really taking a chance on that one.
Shaiful. Djuric loses out, or Mustaqim loses out to Komprom, who's been prominent. Perez. Tricky play from the Brazilian. Syed Fadil, and the intention was to introduce Shijai into the move. Walid, safety first. Mustaqim. Support from Hafiz Osman. Might be worth the go. He decides instead Ahmad Latiff, Wilkinson and Joric in the penalty area. Wilkinson! Claiming the foul, but that's a chance and a half.
Wonderful cross comes in, whipped in. Wilkinson arriving late. No one really picking him up. In the end, it was Roslan Sulaiman who put on some sort of challenge there. Have a look at this. What a ball driven in. Plenty of wide width play by Ahmad Latiff. In the end, John Wilkinson under some sort of pressure. Rosman Sulaiman doing well to make sure that he came close and put some pressure on Wilkinson.
Chances then at either end. Both teams, both coaches said beforehand they were going to go for it. For Home United, they have no choice. They've got to go for it. For Singapore Armed Forces, they want to get it over and done before a potentially tricky match on Monday with Gombak United.
Well, just talking to Colonel Kok Wai Long, team manager of the SAFFC Warriors, he said this championship is for them to lose. So he says everything is in their own hands.
Shijayi! All it needed was a touch from Indra.
Fantastic cross, Shijayi. Obviously very good with either foot. Cutting in, just trying to catch Indra.
Turksak Shaiman. 16 minutes have flown by at Jalan Besar. Ahmad Latiff growing into the game. Valerie Hiek defends the near post as a good centre-back should do. Isn't that right, Sassi?
Absolutely. I mean, just talking about Valerie, I think he's developed this game really well, playing alongside a very experienced player like Subramani. And ever since Subramani's been injured, he's really been suffering for form.
Joric! Subramani's replacement, Waleed, is really close to him. The danger's still not over. Mustaqim. Still Mustaqim. Oh, everybody battling for every little bit of space there, but very good defending from Walid Lunis.
Well, that piece of action actually summed up how much these players really wanted. Have a look at these 3-4 players just going at it, not really getting a foot to that one. But you must say the tenacity of defending by the Home United defenders.
Bennett up there again. Kenji Arai is there. Mustaqim is near post. Joric far post. They run throughs to Kenji Arai, and Wilkinson loses out. Perez de Oliveira. Fukasawa just steps in the way. Ahmad Latiff. Mustaqim. Wilkinson tries to be a little bit too cute. And Waleed. And Jumat Janssen clears to Shaiful Issa. Two of the players looking for the left-back berth when the Suzuki Cup comes round on December the 5th. Walid Lunis again has done well and wins the foul under pressure from Turksak Chaiman.
Good work by Walid Lunis. Knew Turksak Chaiman was just on his heels there. Did really well to protect the ball away from him.
Walid has come from absolutely nowhere this season. Became a Singapore citizen. Was playing NFL and local league football. No flag. Perez de Oliveira. Again, the Singapore Armed Forces defenders are furious with Jeffrey Goh, the linesman. And Perez, I think, had more time than he realised.
They're taking a lot of chance there at the back. Very, very static once again, allowing Perez de Oliveira to get behind them. Brought the ball down very well. Just pulled the trigger.
Shijayi's near post dummy. Ahmad Latiff belts it clear. Japanese Kenji Arai first came to prominence in the S-League with Albirex Niigata. Now very much with the Armed Forces. Chasing back-to-back doubles. at this same venue, on this same station next Friday. We've got the RHB Singapore Cup final. That time it's Woodlands Wellington versus the Armed Forces, but the NTUC Income Yos S-League is up for grabs at the moment as Perez de Oliveira goes to ground, and he was caught by Scheifel.
That's a very strong challenge by Saiful Isha on Perez de Oliveira. Well, I must say it's a good opportunity for one of those Chijai specials.
Big Valerie Hick is in the penalty area. So's Kenya Ludovic. So's Syed Fadil. So's Indra. So is Daniel Bennett. And that's a good control and good clearance. But Turksak is absolutely isolated up front.
Well, what an experience he has to be for Konprong playing against Tersak Chaiman, his countryman. And probably when Tersak Chaiman was playing for the national team as a superstar, he's probably still in school. So another night for the youngster, just 20 years old. Signed in the off-season by Sivaji. I think he just learned a big lesson in not to dive in, because he got a whack in his chin by Tersak Chaiman for being a little bit too robust. It's a good learning ground for young players, isn't it? Playing alongside the likes of Perez de Oliveira, Alexander Duric, Tersak Chaiman. The list goes on.
Oh, great turn by Kenyik. Just trying to lift it into Indra Shardan Dowd. He's been very influential in this opening 22 minutes or so. Ludo on his shirt. Kenya Ludovic, the full name. And defenders know his name. 23 times he's scored this season. But 28 for Alexander Djuric, who's fouled at the other end by Big Valerie Hick.
Well, just coming back to Ludovic, I think he has the quality to play at the highest level, even in Europe.
Wilkinson, taken quickly. Still John Wilkinson. 3 times the Armed Forces have tried to take a quick free kick, and on all 3 occasions they've caught out Home United. Komprom, strong challenge from Ahmad Latiff again. There's the venue, Jalan Besar. Very healthy and noisy, boisterous crowd. The fans in blue want to see a trophy lifted at the end of tonight. That won't happen, but they might be celebrating a championship.
Absolutely. 3 titles in a row if they win it this time around. And what an achievement it's been for Richard Bock, who started off as the assistant for Fandi Ahmad, who had a very successful stint with SFFC as well. He's moved on, and Richard Bock at the helm now, really looking to add more titles to his CV.
Turksak, first touch immaculate as ever. Mustaqim, under pressure from Rosman Sulaiman. No free kick. Rosman comes inside. Oh, and Walid Lunis is a little bit on his heels. Ahmed, strong man, protects the ball well, goes to ground. Masahiro Fukasawa finds Dan Bennett. Kenji Arai. Turksak Chaiman. Japan, Thailand, and Singapore.
Cameroon.
It's wonderful football. Oh, that's a challenge and a half there. Thailand versus England, just to maintain the theme. Young Komprom against John Wilkinson, and here's Wilkinson again with the Brazilian in pursuit. Djuric! Born in Bosnia, very much a Singaporean now, and looking for goal number 29 of the season. And he looks mean and moody tonight.
Half a chance for Alexander Djuric. As you can see, Valerie here very, very close to him. Not giving him an inch in the box there. Another good cross coming in. Well, this game has been played at a very frantic pace, end-to-end action. He's lived up to his billing so far.
Perez just teasing. Close attention on Ludovic. And side Fadil. That time the flag does go up. Jeffrey go.
Well, that was a great run by Juma Jantan. Side Fadil just a couple of seconds too late. Needed to control the ball. And that's when Juma Jantan straight offside, but it's a great run.
Dan Bennett hoisted long. Juric is the target. Side Fadil gets there. Ahmad. Communication important as Lionel Lewis comes out. Boots high, just making sure Wilkinson doesn't follow through. Scheifel onto Mustaqim. Komprom, side Fadil. Perez. Defenders just beginning to get the better of things in the last 5 minutes or so. But can Perez de Oliveira do anything about that? Drifts past the challenge from Hafiz Osman and then mishits the pass. But the first little hint of magic from the Brazilian.
Well, the idea was great. He was trying to release Hijayi down the right flank. The execution is not up to the mark.
Mustaqim gets to the byline. Valerie Heek puts in a terrific tackle. What hit him?
Feels like running through a wall. What a wonderful challenge. Had to time it to perfection there because could have easily been a penalty if it was missed time.
Juric dispossesses Perez and Juric, and another very, very good tackle from Valerie Heek. Juric will just get on with it though. Scheifel wins a tackle and goes for the byline. Not many blue shirts, a bit support, but Juric is there, but no blue shirts in and around the penalty area.
Well, that's been the problem for the Warriors so far, playing with a lone striker up front. Wilkinson and Tersak a little more concerned about being defensive, not really pushing up and supporting him. As you can see, only Mustaqim Munzo really doing the offensive work.
Perez. Tersak, tigerish. Mustaqim. Ahmad Latiff. Again, Juric, the only blue shirt in the penalty area. And Wilkinson is almost on the halfway line. Tersak is 40 yards from goal. And the 4-5-1 is really effective if you get bodies forward. But it can isolate, as you were saying, Sassi, your centre forward.
Well, it's almost impossible to get bodies forward because they are in such a defensive area. It is hard, really taxing on the players to go run 60, 70 yards every time the ball gets past. Alexander Duric has his work cut out for him tonight, unfortunately.
It's Ludovic who's down on the far side. Scheifel wins the header, but it breaks to Hijayi. Indra in the penalty area, still Ludovic is down. Hafiz Osman belted clear. And Ludovic is still down on the far side, just on his knees now. Getting up as Valerie Heek knocks the ball out of play, so his teammate can receive treatment.
Not exactly sure what happened to Ludovic there. Just went down all of a sudden. Seems to be okay now. Here it is. We have a better look at that one. Shielding ball, Hafiz Osman.
Oh, that's what happened to Ludovic. Ahmad Latiff happened to Ludovic.
Let's just say Ludovic ran into Ahmad Latiff's elbow.
The enfant terrible proves He's still got a little bit to him, and this time he's pulled Ludovic down. And a little verbal confrontation. You know him better than most, Sassy.
Yeah, knew him as a young boy, playing alongside me. Plenty of talent, but can be a loose cannon sometimes. Really haven't reached his full potential. He should be a full-fledged Singapore international, helping the national team get some honours, but at the moment, still in the wilderness.
And he took it away from Perez de Oliveira, and he knows that that was a chance because he got in front of his defender.
Well, it won't get any better for Valerie because Alexander Duric absolutely lost sight of him. Have a look at this. This was the opportunity. Or perhaps he could have actually left it for Perez de Oliveira, who was running onto it. Perez just gets his vision blocked by Alexander Duric.
Nothing to choose between these two teams. In the opening 10 minutes, Home United had the whip hand. In the next 10 minutes, Singapore Armed Forces created a couple of decent openings. It's been stalemate in the last 10.
Well, you expect this match to end up this way. Very, very cagey from the start. Both sides not giving too much away. But having said that, both sides created opportunities to take the lead.
Long ball from Kenjiara is a little bit too ambitious. And Jumat Jansen slides it into Shijayi. Indra is onside. Has he got the pace to keep it in?
Well, normally you wouldn't ask the question of whether Indra has the pace or not, because half his game is built on his pace. But since he had that nasty knee injury, seemed to have slowed down a little bit. Of course, age is catching up with him as well. He's not a young man anymore. Already 29 years old.
That's young, Sassy.
At the peak of his career. But let's not forget, these boys started, Ahmad Latiff and Indra Sharan, 16 years old. Came into the limelight. He's part of the national team as well. So they've been playing football for a long, long time.
Rosman Sulaiman's clearance only falls as far as Shaifalisa. Turkzak. Ahmad Latiff. Gets a cross in despite the attention of two red shirts. Indra helps out, retains possession, and then gives it away again. Mustaqim, clever. Djuric. There's a heavyweight confrontation. Alexander Djuric versus Valerie Haig.
That's wonderful defending. I love to see that because just got his body in front of Alexander Duric. As you can see, Alexander Duric a little bit disappointed with himself. You don't expect Alex to lose out in a physical confrontation, but this guy, he's a man mountain himself. Valerie probably has to be one of the revelation of the season.
Best defensive record in the S-League belongs to Home United. 29 goals conceded in 31 matches.
Well,
best attack belongs to Singapore Armed Forces.
So you got the best attack against the best defense. And let's not forget, they still miss the likes of Subramani. It's been a key figure for them the last couple of seasons.
That was an accidental collision. It involved Ahmad Latiff, but as he was going for the header, he caught, I think it's Jumat. Jumat, you'll know when you've been hit by Ahmad Latiff. The two coaches, both thoughtful. Sivaji, hand on chin, talking to Surachai, his assistant, who's not a bad man to have in a crisis. Good crowd.
Well, it's great to see the attendance today here at the Jalan Besar Stadium. Both sets of fans coming here in numbers. Of course, they know this is probably the biggest match of the season.
Djuric surveys the scene. At the moment, the Armed Forces are top of the table with 73 points and a very healthy plus 50 goal difference. Super Reds are second with 72, having played a game more. Home United are third with 69 points. Home United must win, otherwise their chance of the title is gone. Stalemate at the moment as Jantan looks to get back onto the pitch.
In my opinion, I think Richard Bock has to make some sort of tactical change at halftime, especially going forward, because Alexander Duric is really struggling on his own up front, and Valery Hiek and Walid Lunis done a good job on him so far.
Shijai into Syed Fadil. Syed lifts it up. Kenji Arai defends that ever so well. Well, Mustaqim, he's won the foul, but I think he would have liked the advantage, and the young winger, a couple of times he's threatened to get away as Wilkinson miscontrols. Syed Fadil, simple ball. He puts Walid Lunis under a bit of unnecessary pressure, and possession gifted to Wilkinson and Turksak. And Djuric, flag is up as Djuric lifts it wide anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is what Alexander Duric looks for. Just plays off the defender's shoulder, looks for the ball behind in space. He likes to get behind that. Have a look at this. Turksak Chaiman just trying to pick him out. Clearly offside, Alexander Duric.
He was just playing off the back of Walid Lunis there, wasn't he? And Walid's only 23. Hasn't played at this level before, so might have a little bit of inexperience.
Well, I think during the window period where the S.LEAGUE clubs could actually go on and sign players, Sivaji looked into the market and really wanted a defensive cover for Subramani or Valery Hiek, and he found Walid Lunis.
Bennett finds Djuric, again isolated. Rosman. Shijai lifts it in. Bennett's header as far only as Jantan. Red shirts in the penalty area. Indra. Still Indra. Shadan Daud. Shijai. Shijai a second time. Gets a shot. Safe hands from Shahril Jantan.
But great footwork by Shijai. Twisting and turning, and in the end found some space for himself. Cuts it on back. His left foot. Very, very comfortable for Shahril Jantan.
Jantan watches as John Wilkinson at the other end threatened to burst through. Wilkinson's cross. Mustaqim's in there. That is an important header from Rosman Sulaiman.
Kept his eye on the ball all the way through. Rosman Sulaiman needed to get that touch, like you said, Des.
Scheifel has Kenji Arai. Ahmed Latiff just helped it in. Djuric onside. Lionel Lewis punches it clear. Encourages his defence, but again, a sniff of a chance for big Alexander Djuric.
Great awareness by Lionel Lewis. Off his line quickly. Couldn't really catch all of that one.
The left foot of Scheifel Issa will fizz this one into the near post. Djuric is there. Kenji Arai goes near post. Bennett attacking that near post area as well. Lionel focused on that near post, was nearly caught out. Kenji Arai. Bennett. Dan Bennett is a defender.
Well, he summed it up well, but we know he can strike the ball well, Daniel Bennett, but in that instance, really doing more of a defensive clearance than actually trying to trouble Lionel Lewis.
Lionel's got his own international battle to win. Come the Suzuki Cup, will it be Hassan Sunny or Lionel in goal for Singapore?
Well, let's not forget that's a tournament that Lionel really loves. voted one of the best players in the tournament a couple of years ago. So I'm sure he'll be looking to reconsolidate his position in the national team.
Good play from Perez. Introduces Shijai, Kornprom, Ludovic. Charles Jantan makes a dive as Jumat Jantan puts the ball in.
Well, I just get a feeling that was a poor decision by Jumat Jantan because he had bodies in the box. Good work by Kenya Ludovic. Started off with Shijai. Just nicks it into the pass of Jumat Jantan. Have a look at that. Could have just tried to put it into the far post where they had Indra Sharan and Perez de Oliveira arriving late. Another one of those opportunities that's gone to waste for the Warriors. Oh, sorry, for the Protectors, for the matter.
"40 minutes gone. Perez de Oliveira finds Syed Fadil. Little toe poke to Rosman Sulaiman. Even in this atmosphere, time and space created on the ball by Perez de Oliveira. That's a good battle between Indra and Kenji Arai. It breaks out to Kornprom, and this is Kenny Ludovic. Oh, he just couldn't knock the ball in. Shijai is still there though. And twice down that left-hand side, there's been a man left over by Singapore Armed Forces. Debate amongst the Home United players, but they're creating half openings.
Absolutely, and Kenya Ludovic just telling Shijai to come towards him. But I thought Kenya Ludovic could have done much better with his touch to lay it on in the path of Shijai, who was absolutely waiting in acres of space there.
The first goal in this contest will be absolutely crucial as Richard Bock looks on, focused. Never seems to be ruffled as Richard Bock.
Let's not forget as well, Des, he's a young coach, and at this level he's had some success. So that's why he's got a very level head. It's good to see my teammate, when we used to play at SAFFC, doing ever so well with his coaching career. That's really good signs for local coaches here in the S-League.
Ahmad Latiff tries to guide it in. Walid Lunist as well. Ahmed has got Hafiz Osman to drive the cross in. John Wilkinson! Wilkinson! Important block from Lionel Lewis. And Perez can break with Indra Shardan Daud. Kenji Arai matches him stride for stride. Kenya Ludovic. Perez. Good defensive work from Ahmad Latiff. And again, best chance of the game though fell to John Wilkinson. Best save of the game made by Lionel Lewis.
That was a very, very brave goalkeeping by Lionel Lewis. Had to dive at the feet of John Wilkinson, who looked destined to score there.
Joric holding off Valerie Heck and Mustakim Mansour. Wilkinson's done well. Wilkinson parried safe again by Lewis. They're looking for the goal before half-time, but Perez has got Kenya Ludovic available. Shai Felisa. Foul goes against big Kenya Ludovic. I say big, I mean
big
squat.
and stocky.
Yeah, big and Scott. What is he, 5'7", 5'8", but powerful in the thigh. Walid Lunis wins the header and landed awkwardly there. Just watching him as he's limping back.
Well, just as he came down a little bit heavy on his left knee.
Ahmad Latiff. It's a little bit scrappy, but Joric, can he get Joric? Alexander Joric! Oh, what a tackle from Valerie Hick as Sasi Kumar literally applauds.
What a wonderful piece of defending there Valery Hiak, just the way he was lining up to make the clearance, I was thinking he was not going to get there, and he missed that one. Alexander Duric had an opportunity to make it 1-0 for the Warriors, but Valery Hiak, what a wonderful recovery there.
Plenty of good things in this first 45 minutes. There will be 60 seconds of time to add on at the end of this first half. It remains goalless, but there have been chances. Kornprom, Perez, Kornprom, Shijayi faced by Ahmad Latiff, Jumat Jantan, just nipping in there. Saeed Fadil playing as a third centre-back because both his full-backs are well forward.
Well, this is where both teams cannot go to sleep right at the death of half-time. A lot of goals are conceded during this period where players actually take their mind off the game thinking they're going to just walk into half-time.
Indra, Dan Bennett attentive to his duties and make sure that Indra can't do any damage. Okay, knowing that Home United have to win this game to retain any hope of winning the title, what's the half-time talk from Sivaji?
Well, it is to do what they are doing at the moment because they're doing it ever so well. They are creating opportunities. Players are getting into good opportunities, or good areas rather. But what they really need to do is convert those chances because the longer it goes, the more frustrating it's going to get for the Home United protectors.
As for the armed forces, what will Richard Bock be saying?
Well, keep doing the same they are doing, but perhaps change the lineup a little bit, or rather the formation. He needs to go forward. They need to find their goal to make it very, very hard for Home United.
Second half from Jalan Besar. Singapore Armed Forces versus Home United. It's goalless. A reminder that the Armed Forces can win the title if they beat Home United tonight. It may be goalless, but as the highlights showed you just before half-time, this has been a game with plenty of chances. And Sasi Kumar, in the break, we were talking about changes that the Armed Forces might make, and I think they've made one.
Yeah, absolutely. They changed the formation a little bit, pushing Ahmad Latiff up front with Alexander Duric. That's the natural thing to do because in the first half they really looked as though Alexander Duric was isolated up front. He was isolated up front. So changed it a little bit, giving a bit more support in the form of Ahmad Latiff.
Duric chases the lost ball, or the long ball I should say, as the flag was up against him. It's a free kick against Duric for offside. Kwa Kim Song, an always interested spectator.
Well, he works for the S.LEAGUE, doesn't he? So he's a tournament director, so that's the reason why he's here, keeping an eye on the way things are going. But I'm sure he'll be pleased with the turnout today. Wonderful turnout here at the Jalan Besar Stadium.
Lionel Lewis goes long. Lewis making a crucial save just before half-time. You suspect the first goal is going to be absolutely crucial. And if Singapore Armed Forces get it, they are going to shut up shop.
For sure. I think they will then revert back to the 4-5-1 formation. Don't really need to chase the game. Meanwhile, have a look at the way Perez protects the ball.
Under pressure from Turksak Chairman. This is Walid Lunis. Goes long. Bennett will eat those up every day. Perez, Valery Hiak. Ludovic is onside. Hafiz Osman, good strong challenge from Hafiz.
That's a strong challenge, almost taking off our cameraman there on the ground, but Hafiz Osman doing his work well.
Long ball from Mustaqim. And even though Duric has been joined alongside him by Ahmad Latiff, Still very little pressure on the home United back four. Said Fadil loses out to Joric. Ahmed. Mustaqim. Latiff continues his run. Mustaqim doesn't use him, he uses John Wilkinson. Tries the fancy dummy, doesn't work. And Perez lifts it into Kenya Ludovic. Kenji Arai concedes the corner. He says throw in.
Everyone a little bit confused with whether if it's a throw-in or a corner, but in the end it's a throw-in to be taken by Juma Jantan.
Perez. 3 red shirts in the penalty area. Instead it's the blue of Shai Felisa that clears. Rosman Sulaiman, Shijai. Said Fadil, that's a nice little pass around the shoulder. Indra with a little bit of space. Shijai. Bennett's a strong defender in that position though. Kornprom. Jumat. Just wouldn't sit for Jumat. He's still trying to ease the ball onto his favoured left foot.
Well, to be fair, he had an option with Perez de Oliveira down the left flank. Chose to just make a run into the box by himself.
Hafiz Osman gets a good clearance in. The throw-in goes to the armed forces. Perez a little flustered. Joric under pressure. That's good footwork from Jumat Jantan. Lovely little give and go with Perez and Jumat. Kenji Arai. And Cheryl Jansen's done well to keep that in play.
Well, not the best of clearance by Kenji Arai, but the keeper coming to his rescue there.
Great play by Ahmad Latiff to get in front of Walid Lunis.
Well, it must be said that even though Richard Bock has chose to play with 2 strikers up front, both of them are not really coming on to the defenders, making it hard for them.
Bennett clears. As Ludovic threatened to just get away from it. Shai Felisa. Oh, what a tackle again by Valerie Hick.
Again, immaculate timing with his talent there.
Kornprom shields the ball from Turksak Chaiman. Perez helps it along to Shijai. Indra's in the penalty area. All he does though is find Kenji Arai. Rather aimless from Said Fadil.
Well, I just need to point out, Des, with the change of formation, what they really have done, the Warriors have allowed Home United to get down the left flank because John Wilkinson seemed to be dragging into the middle and creates a lot of space on the left flank.
Mustaqim just clipped by Jumat Jantan, who apologises. He was just running across him. I don't think there was any intent, but it's still a free kick to Singapore Armed Forces and a chance for Shaiful Issa to trot over and curl a ball into a dangerous position.
Well, if you ask me, very unnecessary free kick to give away. Juman Jantan had the opportunity to put the brakes, actually allow Mustaqim Manzo clearly away from goal, taking a chance here because this could prove vital or fatal rather for the protectors.
Bennett going into the near post area. Kenji Arai's there as well. Good decisive goalkeeping from Lionel Lewis. Turksak. Kenji Arai still available, so's Joric. Walid Lunis leaps high. And again. And Walid comes out with the ball. To his left is Indra. First touch lets him down. Indra. Cuts inside Wilkinson. Oh, the intention was to release Walid Lunis. And Hafiz Osman does well. And Ahmad Latiff is onside. And there's plenty of one-on-one confrontations going around. Plenty to keep your eye on.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? To win the personal battles. And that becomes a good team effort in the end.
Nice triangle to work the ball clear. Inadvertent give and go.
I don't know if he really meant that, but that was brilliant.
Kenye. Again outnumbered, closed down. The Cornprom. Bennett. You talk about Valerie Hicks. Timing at one end. Dan Bennett shows that he can do it as well. There's a sense that something is building here.
Absolutely. I think, like you mentioned earlier, the first goal is vital because then it will change the complexion of the game altogether. It simply means one of the other teams has to go out and get the win.
For the second year in a row, 3 teams come into the final few games of the NTUC Income Yo's S-League with a chance of winning the title. The Armed Forces won it last year, and the Armed Forces are in pole position this year, but all it needs is one slip.
Well, let's not forget last year as well, Home United lost out the title to the Warriors by just 1 point in the end, and that was really agonizing for the Protectors. This year around, they're trying to fix that. Well, it's not all in their hands now. Tonight, they need to get maximum points, and also in the next game against Balestier, they need to get all 3 points. If you look at the stats carefully, Balestier has been their bogey team for many, many years. So it's not as clear-cut as a lot of people are making it out to be.
If there is no decision tonight, Monday night, all 3 games will be played simultaneously. But Joric into Turkzak. Terrific defending from Jumat Jantam.
Good give and go by the 2 veterans of the team, Alexander Duric and Tursak Chaiman. Again, good defending by the back 4. Very, very stubborn back 4 for Home United.
Good football until the pass from Jumat on his least favoured right foot knocks the ball out of play. Sivaji, always animated. Still not sure of his future at Home United either. Talks tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what the word is. Everybody's saying that he's going to be talking to his management tomorrow. But I'm sure he's safe. His job is pretty safe. He's done a good job with the team so far.
Joric strong. Shaiful Issa into Joric again. Turkzak Simon. Oh, not like a teeth. Slides in. What could be a crucial goal for Singapore Armed Forces. And the tactical change has worked.
Well, in the run of play, like we mentioned, there was a need for change in the formation. And Richard Bock, again, a master stroke by Richard Bock by introducing Alexander Duric and Ahmad Latiff to play up front for the Warriors. Have a look at this one. It's Tursak Chaiman in the heart of everything. Pulls the trigger. Leaves no choice for Lionel Lewis to parry the ball. But very, very unlucky. But good thinking by Ahmad Latiff. Very, very typical center forward play. Sliding the ball into the back of the net. What an important goal this might be for the Warriors.
Ahmad Latiff doing what every good striker do, anticipating a rebound from the keeper. It's a very good save from Lewis, but Latiff is on the move already, and that is an absolutely critical goal for the Enfant Terrible. Making headlines for the right reason this time.
Well, let's not forget, Latiff was struggling to get a contract with any club in the beginning of season, but has got his act together, passed the mandatory beep test, and look at him now. Could be scoring the most important goal of the season for the Warriors. How fortunes change for a player. Well, let's not forget, there's immense talent, and he wants to have his head screwed in. He can be a fantastic player to watch.
And now Home have got to throw players forward. They need 2 goals, never mind the 1. And as they throw players forward, there's pace and there's trickery from Turkzak and John Wilkinson and Mustakim and Latiff and Joric to try and catch them out.
Well, the last thing Shivaji needs for his Chargers to do is to get their head down, because already you can see Kenya Ludovic a little bit disappointed, a little bit frustrated that the ball or the pass is not getting to him. Needs to get his head up, chin up, and try to keep pushing, because plenty of time left in this game.
We're not even at the hour mark. There's still 32 minutes left at Jalan Besar. But already the blue-shirted supporters are looking forward to a third straight title. Latiff into Joric, looking for Mustakim. And Joric, who was so strong to hold off Valerie Hirk. And you're pointing, I think, that they might have made a change already, having gone a goal to the good.
Absolutely. I think they have reverted back to the 4-5-1 formation yet again, because they don't really need to chase this game down. It's shut up shop for the Warriors at the moment. So that's the reason why I see Ahmad Latiff playing at a very withdrawn position, the right flank.
They're the armed force supporters as Shijayi, who took a crunching tackle from Turkzak Chaiman. That's why he's sprawled on the floor. Turkzak apologises. It doesn't really help when you're flat on your back. And
to be fair, there was an off-the-ball incident there involving Turkzak. Shijayi just seemed to have released the ball. Turkzak Chaiman absolutely crunching into Shijayi. There you see the Home United fans just trying to urge their team on. And so are the Warriors fans.
It's gone very quiet amongst the Home United supporters and police who've come down for this game.
Well, I'm just looking at the touchline. Shivaji is just indicating that he wants to play with 3 players up front. So I won't be surprised if I see Perez de Oliveira pushed on up front to play alongside Indra Shadan, and then Kenya Ludovic in a withdrawn position. Actually, that could really work out for the Warriors, because, sorry, for the Protectors. Perez de Oliveira, he is very good in the air. If I want to be critical of Home United's season so far, I think they've been a little bit one-dimensional with their play. They haven't got a target man like the Warriors to aim at when things are not really going their way. And I'm sure Shivaji recognizes that.
Valerie Hirk floats it wide. Another good call from Sasi Kumar, because Perez is now playing up front. A completely free role. He doesn't do that much defending anyway, but has to do no defending now. Walid Lunis is caught late by Joric, accepts the proffered handshake reluctantly. And Home United have 30 minutes to rescue this season. Still, of course, AFC Cup places to play for.
Because it'll be very interesting if SAFFC goes on to win the title. It will be Woodlands Wellington that will represent Singapore. And let's not forget, today they announced that they're going to go with a developmental squad for next season. That's going to be very interesting if you're facing the likes of Urawa Red Diamonds and Gamba Osaka. Because there's an opportunity for the playoffs to actually play in the Asian Champions League next year.
That's for the future, though. This is the present. And the present is very nice if you're a Singapore Armed Forces supporter. Last 3 years have been pretty good. The flicked header from Perez, Ludovic. Rosman Sulaiman couldn't keep it in play. Just lacked the composure.
Well, that's disappointing. That's been the downside of the game for Rosman Sulaiman. Gets into fantastic opportunities, fantastic areas. But the last ball is where the quality seriously lacks from this youngster.
As things stand, the Armed Forces are champions of the NTUC Income Yos S-League. It's up to Home United to change that. It's up to Home United to take us down to the final match of the season for the second straight season.
Richard Bock just talking to Fukasawa to say, just stay in midfield, do not wander anywhere, because we need you there to mop up anything in front of the defense.
Turksak just lifts it over for Mustaqim. Dangerous cross. Was probably just a couple of yards too far in front of Alexander Joric. But Lionel Lewis and co looking to get the ball in play quickly.
Well, to be fair, Des, I thought the Home United defense had a good game. But what's seriously lacking in the back line, it's a bit of leadership. Let's not forget Valerie here, it's the first season in the S-League. And also Walid Lunis, first season in the S-League.
Turksak, Joric. Mustaqim, Wilkinson, Latiff. Valerie Higgs done well. Holds off Turksak Chaiman. And Fukasawa shows his nous, the 27-year-old Japanese. Is then forced off the ball, but is still reaching the byline. And cleared as Fukasawa takes a tumble in the boards. And the composure has disappeared as Shaul Ishak prepares to come on for Home United. Oh, it's all gone wrong, Sassi.
Well, if you look at the attacking option, is the final throw of the dice for Sivaji, because the only attacking player he really has to call upon who can really make a difference besides Farhan Farouk is Shaul Ishak. So Singapore international, hopefully he can come on for the remaining of the game and try to change the complexion of the game.
Long kick from Lionel Lewis, but the flag is up on the far side. Hajamaidin. And the substitution will be made, and it's Saeed Fadil, the holding midfielder, who's coming off. Shaul Ishak, who's coming on. And they're going for broke.
Just looking at the way it's a straight swap, Kunpron will now play as the holding midfielder, allowing Shaul Ishak to attack forward, venture a little bit forward and support the attackers.
John Wilkinson a little bit too fancy for his own good there. Ball just runs out of play for the English-born Singapore international. Perez runs into trouble. Komprom, fancy back flick, doesn't come off. Great tackle by Wilkinson. Ahmad Latiff into Mustaqim Mansour. Hafiz Osman. Now Ahmed's made a terrific run down the left-hand side. Wasn't picked up, but Joric then loses out, and they had a man over, did Singapore Armed Forces.
This is where it's really important for Home United not to misplace their passes and give possession away. They need to keep the ball as long as possible and try and make that opening.
Terrific pass from Shijayi. Ludovic. Red shirt, 3 in the penalty area. Ludovic goes for goal, and Cheryl Jansen, good positioning.
Kenya Ludovic does well to cut inside, but doesn't pack enough power on his left foot to trouble the goalkeeper.
Wilkinson, and suddenly there's plenty of space in the middle of the park. That was so congested in the first half, and now Home United have got to push bodies forward. Wilkinson, Valerie Heek, Charlie Shack, left out of the starting lineup for tactical reasons. Will obviously try to be showing his coach that it was the wrong decision. Flag stays down. Ludovic, Indra, Perez, what a tackle. And I think they've clashed shin bones there. But what a fabulous tackle. Hafiz Osman, is it? He's writhing in agony on the floor.
Well, you're right, Des. It's the right back, Hafiz Osman, just coming to cover the space. That's the big number 4. Bit of a coming together. Perez Diolova really looking to pull the trigger there. What a tackle in the end for the Singapore international.
Another who'll be looking for a place, at least in the squad, for Radio Vramovic's Suzuki Cup campaign. Mustaqim Mansour finds Turkzak. Djuric makes the run in front of him. Oh, Latiff, it was just half a metre away from being a terrific pass from Djuric. Walid leaves the pass too late.
To be fair, Walid actually telegraphed the pass there.
S. Kumar just checking that Ahmad Latiff is wearing shin pads.
That's strange. Because to be fair, Latiff is known not to wear his shin pads. Hates wearing shin pads. He's got probably the smallest shin pads in the game.
Perez rather hopefully looking for a penalty.
Frustration creeping in there.
And Perez might have talked himself into a little bit of trouble there for continuing his argument with Mustaqim.
Just get a feeling it was Mustaqim actually telling Perez not to go down way too easily in the box.
Perez was key when Home United won the double back in 03-04. Subsequently moved to Tampines, now back at Home United. Never did quite look right in a yellow shirt, did he?
Not at all. I think he had a horrible season, purely because he couldn't fit into the system at Tampines, who really operate very differently from the rest of the clubs in the league.
Walid Lunis clears, and 20 minutes for Home United to prevent Singapore Armed Forces. A rather laid-back attitude in the crowd, but there's plenty of tension out on the pitch. And tension on the face of Richard Bock and Selvaraj, another former teammate of yours, Sassi.
Yep, played together in the national team and also Singapore Armed Forces in the early days of the S.LEAGUE.
The throw-in for Singapore Armed Forces. So Rory, the lap-type throw coming in from Hafiz Osman. Valerie Hick continues, or puts his head in the way of the ball. But I've not seen that one from Hafiz before.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously been working on the training ground, having seen how what Delap does for his team in the English Premier League.
Oh, and that's high by Shahrali Shak on Shaiful Issa. Shaiful just collects his thoughts. International teammates in the future. Sworn enemies today. Bennett goes long. Sivaji, not an awful lot he can do from here. It's all up to his players now. He's made this, well, probably his only tactical choice, as Wilkinson has caught Cornprom. And a free kick goes to Home United. And is this the shin pads issue again between Ahmad Latiff and S. Kumar?
Well, this is really unnecessary by Ahmad Latiff. That's the last thing he actually needs. The rules of the game implicates that you got to put on shin pads. and he needs to abide by the rules.
Richard Bock telling his player to calm down. He's scored a goal. He's made a fabulous contribution to the Armed Forces cause already today. But Perez looking to wriggle free. Indra and Alexander Djuric in a wrestling contest. Djuric wins it. Home United have the ball. And Latiff is back on. Fully shin padded up. Bennett. Indra, oh, penalty surely. Bennett on the back of Ludovic, Kenya Ludovic. And it's a penalty to Home United. And a lifeline.
Well, have a look at this one again. Kenya Ludovic again making a nuisance of himself. Is off the pictures where we actually saw Dan Bennett pull him down. The referee sport out with his decision this time around. And hence a lifeline for the protectors to get back into this game and collect all 3 points.
It was an instant decision by S. Kumar. And Perez de Oliveira has a chance to score what will be his 10th goal of the season. Cheryl Jantan. Perez. Oh, puts it wide.
Oh my word. That must be absolutely disappointing for Perez de Oliveira.
Here's the incident that led to the penalty. And to the left of the screen, Bennett is pulling back. A clear penalty it was. And then this is the penalty.
Well, I would have put my house on the line to say Perez will score from there, because he hardly misses from those sort of opportunities. Very clinical when it comes to penalty. Perhaps the heat of the moment getting to him.
Cornprom. Ludovic tries to get in front of Kenji Arai, and Ludovic's physicality is causing one or two real problems for both Bennett and Kenji Arai.
Well, credit must be given to the way Ludovic has put himself about.
A corner's been given. Cheryl was being a little bit too cute, a little bit too clever. Tried to chest the ball out. Actually just chested it over the line. Quickly taken. 15 minutes to go. Cheryl Ishak, this one is a corner.
What a huge letdown with the miss of the penalty for Home United, because that would have been a glorious chance to get back into this game.
Ludovic comes off Kenji Arai. And if I tell you that every single blue shirt is in his own penalty area, it'll tell you a little bit about the state of the game at the moment. Cornprom. Still 1-0 to the Armed Forces. Far post is Kenya Ludovic! Over the top. And virtually every Home United player puts his head in his hands.
Well, that was a glorious chance. In the space of the last 5 minutes, Home United had 2 opportunities actually to take the lead in this game. But have a look at this one. Kenya Ludovic. Again, you would not imagine he'll miss from this sort of distance. Too eager to pull the trigger. Needed a bit of composure in the end just to pass the ball into the back of the net. What a disappointing last 5 minutes it's been for the protectors.
Sasi Kumar will be homeless.
Twice over.
Twice over. Bennett. Good communication from Cheryl Jantan. It remains 1-0 to the Armed Forces, but they've ridden their luck in the last 5 minutes.
But that's been the story for Home United, because they have got into good areas, but the problem is they have failed to find the finishing touch.
Turksak. Those 35-year-old legs just keep on going. Djuric helps it on to Ahmad Latiff. And that's a foul. Rosman Sulaiman.
Again, Ahmad Latiff looking for the free kick. and very intelligently invites Ruslan Sulaiman to put in the tackle. Here we see that again, just gets his body in between the ball and Ruslan Sulaiman.
That time Wilkinson it is who goes to ground, wins the free kick, and you can just sense the home United players. Well, there's a sense of inevitability for them as Shaiful Issa trots over. It'll be typical for the armed forces to go and nick a second here.
Well, like they did against the Super Reds.
Oh, and lit off the crossbar from Wilkinson.
Home United defense again going to sleep there. Heads going down, but what a wonderful free kick. Just bounces in. Wilkinson, I'm pretty sure he had no idea about that one. Just got a hit to that one. A crossbar coming to the rescue. Home United just momentarily getting away from that one.
Missed penalties. Volleys from 6 yards fizzing over. Headers onto the crossbar. And a title at stake. And Joric on the prowl. Inside of him is Turkzak Chayman. It's just a couple of yards too far in front of the tie. 11 minutes and counting. Shijayi looks for Perez. Good defensive header from Hafiz Osman. And the change will be made. Mustaqim Mansour is the man who's coming off. The replacement, Saeed Karim. It's an attacking player for a defensive player.
Well, Saeed Karim also made a cameo appearance last week when they took on the Super Reds. Came on to anchor the midfield, so he'll be looking to do that as well.
Indra, space. Rosman Sulaiman, far post. Shaiful Issa blocked by Fukasawa. Corner kick. And Home United are getting just so many bodies into the penalty area that it's sheer weight of numbers that's causing these chances.
You're right, Des. They're just piling on the pressure, trying to pry open the door.
Hafiz Osman's headed clearance. Ten minutes between Singapore Armed Forces and their third straight title. Shaiful Issa was looking for the foul. So the Home United formation is now 1-1-9. Pushing everybody forward.
Well, they have nothing to lose now. They really need to find the equalizer first and then go on to find the winning goal. But I'm sure in the process they'll open up a lot of space for Alexander Duric and company. It's the last thing they need, because still 10 minutes to play in this very, very fiery encounter.
Wilkinson closed down. Indra chasing is Perez. Sharil comes out and clears. Decisive goalkeeping. Wilkinson leaves a foot in. Hafiz Osman picks up the pieces. Still that goal 10 minutes after the break by Ahmad Latiff separates the two teams. And that's the goal that could well provide the championship to the armed forces. Joric!
Well, does so well to turn Valery Hayek for the first time tonight. And that's his favorite move, Alexander Duric. Just holds off the defender, gets the ball to his favorite left foot. Just tries to put a shot on goal there.
Joric again. Good play by Shaiful. Fukasawa closed down by Komprom. Still, Home United play with 4 defenders. Or ostensibly 4 defenders. They're just trying to get forward. Jumat Jantam. Turksak turns away wearily. Been a fabulous player, Turksak Chaiman, for the armed forces since he came back to the club after his spell in Thailand with BC Terusasana. Has played in an AFC Champions League final. Has played at a very, very good level. And here is Turksak Chaiman.
Well, one of those players that could have gone on to play in the big European leagues, Turksak Chaiman, that's for sure. Technically superb. Has a good engine on him.
Indra. Perez times the bounce a little bit better than Shaifulisa. Red shirts piling forward into the penalty area. But blue shirts outnumber them. And Karim finds Wilkinson. Neat football. Juric, possession football. Wilkinson. Still Wilkinson. Safe hands from Lionel Lewis. 7 minutes. Charlie Shack. Hafiz Osman, who's been very impressive at fullback.
Oh, you're right, Des. He's done really well. Gave no inch to any of the attackers. And when called upon, came over as a covering defender, especially when you're playing with a flat back four. You need your fullbacks to act as sweepers at points. And he's done really well.
Still 3 games to be played on Monday night, involving the 3 teams who've taken us right to the end of the season. The Super Reds have been a credit in turning their season round. Home United are always a credit to the S-League. And the Armed Forces, who at this stage have one hand on the championship, but it's only one hand. Charlie Shack was a whisker away from getting a touch. Jumat Jantan into Shijayi. 6 red shirts in the penalty area, one of whom is Perez de Oliveira. Perez. Indra closed down. Alexander Juric is the furthest blue shirt forward, and he was on the edge of his own penalty area.
A lot of blue shirts in their own half, just covering every blade of grass there on the pitch. Having said that, this is a synthetic pitch.
Valerie Heck.
But you get my point. Working so hard to cover the space. Had a good game, but seriously, I just get a feeling they lack a little bit of leadership in the back. And that's been telling tonight. Otherwise, they've been fantastic. The best back four for Home United.
Juric. Wilkinson. And Juric. League leader on 28 goals. How appropriate it would be if he could put the final crown on the title. Kenya just a little bit too aggressive and quickly taken. Turksak.
To be fair, he didn't have any options. He was looking up, looking for support. Even though there were red shirts up there, nobody coming really close to give him some sort of assistance. And in the end, no choice, had to pull down his opponent. I'm sure at the end of the game, Home United will be looking back at those opportunities and reflecting on the way they've missed it.
Indra looking for something in the middle. Picks up the ball. Perez, his penalty miss. Ahmad Latiff, Valerie Hick strikes it. Fukasawa clears. Valerie Hick. Perez. 5 red shirts in and around the penalty area. Dan Bennett clears. Indra into the midriff of Cheryl Jantan.
Well, this is where they really meet a out-and-out striker, a target man, someone who's 6'4", because then they can actually vary their play instead of trying to find the feet of Indra and Kenya Ludovic.
Richard Bock, and there's one or two unnecessary words from the bench of the Singapore Armed Forces. Waleed fires it in. The hanging header coming from Shahril Ishak, but it's a free kick. 2 minutes plus injury time. It's one of those sporting miracles required for Home United. A season that began, well, a long way back. February the 18th. It's a long old season, the S-League, but it's reached a climax with two of the best three teams in the league matched up against each other at a full stadium in the heart of the city.
Well, you're right, there's a couple of opportunities to create history in the S-League. If SCF goes on to win this one, it'll be 3 titles in a row for an S-League club. And if the Super Reds actually won it, it'll be the first foreign club. So plenty to play for both teams. Home United, on the other hand, really want a silverware that they really desperately need to keep the club still going on, or rather, even if they don't win it, the club goes on. But you know, there's a club based on success, and that's the reason why they need some sort of silverware.
This Singapore Armed Forces team, for the best part of 3 years, been pretty much unchanged. There will be 3 minutes of time to add on at the end of the 90. That means we are 3.5 minutes away from another title for the Armed Forces.
Armed Forces looking to make another substitution. Looks like Faisal Aziz, the defender, just come on to make sure they shore up the defense. The last dying minutes of this second half. Obviously, this is time-wasting tactics employed by Richard Bock. Shaiful Esha, must say, is a much better game than what he had against the Super Reds. Obviously putting in the work during the week.
Confirmation, 3 minutes time added on. The Mexican wave goes round the SAF fans' half of the stadium. The police and Home United fans aren't exactly joining in the festivities. Corner it is to the Armed Forces. It's not been a vintage display, but it's been effective. And in the end, as so often with the Armed Forces, it's just been enough.
Exactly, Des. I think it's a very professional approach by SAFFC. They came in with a game plan, and the game plan was to make sure that Home United doesn't score. But to be fair, Home United was let down by a lot of poor finishing. But let's not take anything away from the Warriors. Stuck to their game plan, and in the second half, Richard Bock, this man over here, changed the formation, which actually worked for them.
Turksak down, but certainly not out. I promise you, he'll be celebrating in just a couple of minutes' time. And don't forget the RHB Bank Singapore Cup final. The same venue next Friday. Live on MediaCorp. But Woodlands fans, I know you'll be down here. I know you'll be cheering your team on.
The last chance for the team to get some sort of silverware. The Rams, because there's going to be a complete overhaul in the team come 2009.
Joric stays onside. And the pass to Turksak, who's still off the field injured.
There's the substitute, Faisal Aziz there. Not really quite switched on with the rest of the players in the park. Can't blame him, just coming on for Shaiful Issa.
That man's goal separates the two sides. That man's goal looks like it's won the title for the Armed Forces. And that man, Ahmad Latiff, is the RHB Bank man of the match.
Well, no surprise there. Again, Latiff is one of those very frustrating characters because you know he's a quality player, talented player, really needs to keep his head in check. But tonight, what a wonderful display. He's made the difference for the Warriors. Employed in right wing, worked well, a couple of telling crosses, but in the end it was the goal. Very brave, sliding in, even though he had Juma Jantan in attendance there.
We have played the 3 minutes of time allocated. It's another foul. Oh, the referee's actually played on. Komprom. Charlie Shack, is there a remarkable sting in the tail? There may well be a corner. No, Bennett makes sure they don't even get a corner. And there's a smack on the back of the head for Waleed Lunis as he dived in. Bennett accidentally caught him. It's seconds now. Richard Bock knows that the time is up.
Pictures indicating to the fourth official that time's up.
The noise in the background is from Singapore Armed Forces fans. And the final whistle goes. And for the third straight year, the Singapore Armed Forces are champions of Singapore. They are the NTUC Income Yo's S-League champions. They've won 1-0 against Home United. They've scored more goals than any other team. They've won more games than any other team. They've lost fewer. Sasi Kumar, the stats suggest they're worthy champions.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they've done the job the whole season through. Very, very consistent with the play. When they needed to get the results, they grinded out results. And when they had to put on a show, they really put on the show. But it was a team effort in the end. And as a club, they really must celebrate this success. But they really, really deserve this one.
This is how the Armed Forces became champions. And Sasi, sum up a season, sum up a match.
Well, what a season it's been for the Warriors, and especially Ahmad Latiff, which is just the icing on the cake of winning the man of the match. But Richard Bock, he has to take all credit for this team, assembling a squad that has lasted consistently throughout the season. And this is a marathon, the season. It's not a sprint, and that's what they have actually survived and come out victors. So credit must go to SAFFC. But let's not forget Home United, who actually came out here and put on a fight and a great spectacle for the S-League.
One more league game to go. It will take place on Monday. Get there early if you're an SAF fan. There's plenty to celebrate. And then at Jalan Besar, the RHB Bank Singapore Cup final. Woodlands versus Singapore Armed Forces. But the final score, as we see Richard Bock, coach of the champion Armed Forces from Jalan Besar. Singapore Armed Forces 1, Home United 0 from Des Corkil and Sasi Kumar. Good night from Jalan Besar.